Head Start programs around the country are having difficulty accessing funding, how that could affect local programs and childcare. Plus, a possible ban on cell phones in Wisconsin schools, what lawmakers and educators are saying about the issue. And then an update to the total raised for our Day of Warmth telethon and how you can still donate while getting a warm meal. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Thanks for staying with us, everyone, at 5. Eric Franke is off this week. We begin tonight with a look at the forecast. It will be cold over the coming days, and alert day conditions are on the way for the weekend. Alex Harrington is on the weather patio. Finally, the ice is melting, Alex. It was a slippery day today.
Yes, it was very slippery today, and I can barely hear you, Susan, because it's also very windy today. Hopefully the door there on the patio here does not blow in front of the camera. We have wintry conditions heading to southern Wisconsin after this wind, and this is for later Friday night going on into Saturday. Winter storm watches to the north of the Dells. Snow will break out across all of southern Wisconsin, but the heavier amounts look to be north of Madison right now. Nonetheless, keeping an eye on accumulating snow chances as we go into that Friday night, going into that Saturday time frame. These winds have been very strong today, gusting upwards of 50 miles per hour. Much of southern Wisconsin still under a wind advisory, and if you can hear it out here, it's still roaring. Temperatures, though mild, at least there's that for this time of year. 35 in Madison, 34 in Boscoville, and 36 to the south in Janesville. 35 is a popular number right now in Madison, along with these very strong wind gusts. The winds will eventually ease up coming up in Maine weather. I'll let you know when we can get these winds to ease up, but then we'll also look at those potential snow accumulations for the Saturday weather event in just a few minutes.
Wow, Alex, what a change from just live at 4, too.
I know, I'm going to blow back in.
All right, come on in. All right, thank you, Alex. Lutheran groups in Wisconsin and around the country are being accused of money laundering by Elon Musk. In a social media post, Musk is calling for cutting funds to several Lutheran groups nationwide. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn posted a list of Lutheran organizations receiving federal aid, claiming that a money laundering operation is happening. However, Flynn did not explain his reasoning. The two Wisconsin groups named in the post are Wisconsin Lutheran Child and Family Services in Germantown and Gunderson Lutheran Medical Foundation in La Crosse. In statements to Wisconsin Public Radio, both organizations call the claims baseless and use their funding to support essential services like mental health care. Social media and smartphone use have skyrocketed in the last decade, and so have mental distress and mental health conditions in children and adolescents. To curb that in school, a Wisconsin lawmaker is proposing a statewide ban on cell phones in class. Our Arman Rahman has more on the bill and how such policies have worked in schools in the area. Arman?
Susan, the bill would require all districts to have some policy in place that at least keeps cell phones away during class time, but they can go as extreme as banning them from bell to bell. The lawmaker I spoke to says cell phone and social media use are hurting youth's learning and their mental health too much to not take this action.
It's really allowed students to kind of open up as people.
New this year, cell phones at Middleton High School have to be off and away. And senior Aiden Rosas has seen his peers' behavior refresh.
Initially, you could see just the addiction. I'd say there was a lot of grumbling right at the beginning of the year, but it really quickly went away.
Teachers can either collect phones at the door or students can keep them in their backpacks.
I've even had a couple teachers comment that they can do in 2 days what they used to take 3 days to do.
We've had 15 weeks of maybe 20, but for the most part, it's in that 5 to 10 range of phones turned in.
It's this kind of policy Republican Representative Joel Kitchens wants districts statewide to implement with the bill he's proposing.
And what the bill does, it just tells the school districts to have a policy, which almost all the districts already have a policy.
Middleton High School Principal Peg Shoemaker says they developed the policy with teacher, parent, and student input.
The parents that we brought in were incredibly supportive, and would have probably been supported to have even more restrictions.
UW Health's Dr. Megan Moreno says the #1 person texting a child during the school day is usually the parent.
There's so much fear about school-based shootings and other types of violence that parents just feel safer when they know their kid can get a hold of them.
Representative Kitchens heard similar concerns, but he says during instances like school shootings, law enforcement tells him they don't want students on phones.
They just want them concentrating on hiding, running, and listening to directions.
If a Middleton high schooler's phone is taken, they can still email with their Chromebooks, and their parents are notified how to get in touch with the office and their child.
I think that's an important layer of comfort that a lot of families need.
Iden says as long as districts also have flexibility, he thinks restrictive and thoughtful cell phone policies could recharge hallways nationwide, like his.
One day, my physics teacher actually got a little emotional at the beginning of class. They're talking more, they're interacting more, having meaningful interactions.
The bill is set to go to the Technology Committee next week, and Representative Kitchens expects it to go to an assembly vote in as soon as 2 weeks. He hopes it gets bipartisan support.
We'll continue to follow it, Armand. Thank you. Wisconsin consumers made over 11,000 complaints to the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection last year. Those complaints resulted in more than $23,000 returned. Today, DATCAP released a list of the top 10 complaints from 2024. The top of the list, and nearly a quarter of all complaints, were centered around landlord-tenant issues. The next was telemarketing scams and phishing. Third was home improvement concerns like quality of work and delays. A full list is on channel3000.com. Some Wisconsin child care centers are still grappling with funding shortfalls, and some centers still can't access federal Head Start funding after the Trump administration attempted to pause federal grant spending. Political reporter Will Keneally visited a child care center in Madison and has more.
Child care centers like the playing field here behind me rely on those federal Head Start funds, making it a very personal issue for parents and teachers inside.
It's very devastating if this doesn't get lifted.
Chelsea Fields has 2 kids enrolled in the Head Start program at Playing Fields.
It's been a great developmental progress for especially my oldest son. When he started here, he wasn't speaking, and with like the resources and the teachers caring, my son can have full conversations now.
There are about 70 children in this building, a third of them funded by Early Head Start or Head Start funds. And as of right now, those funds are still frozen and unavailable to us, which leaves us in a place of great uncertainty.
That uncertainty has led some child care centers to wonder whether they'll be able to pay their staff this month.
I wish I had a really good answer for that. We don't know what's happening, so it's almost impossible to plan. I can tell you that if this funding is not restored, it'll be catastrophic for our organization.
For parents like Fields, that could cost them their jobs.
You know, if Head Start closes its doors, people can't get to work. So it really has a ripple effect in our economy.
We underdogs, we matter. We show up to work every day. Maybe not 1 or 2 will take, like you won't notice the effect of it, but like she said, there's 3,000 families that depend on this program, and potentially we will all be out of a job, and I know that the workforce needs us.
Reporting on Madison's west side, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Well, thank you. News 3 Now is continuing to celebrate Black History Month. A Madison native and civil rights activist published a book that will be included in Madison's high school curriculum. The book, Growing Up Black, South Madison, talks about the South Side's economic developments. Our Tanisha Shaw has more.
Dr. Richard Harris contributed a lot to the city of Madison, constantly fighting for civil rights with his words.
I don't know how many other books written by blacks have been used, but I know I'm one of them.
As a walking treasure chest of history, he decided to put a portion of his story on paper for the world to read.
I wrote the book on a Royal typewriter.
Growing Up Black in South Madison shines a light on a neighborhood that's been left in the dark for decades.
Black families, Italian families, Jewish families were cheated out of their property.
Dr. Harris grew up in what was known as Madison's Triangle neighborhood. In the book, he recalls how the diverse neighborhood was dismantled.
This was done by the Madison Redevelopment Authority under a program called Urban Renewal. And they lied to the people saying, look, we're just gonna come in, rehab the community, and you can stay right here. Well, they didn't. They just summarily came in with bulldozers and tore everything down.
Now, Madison's South Side is becoming more inclusive. For example, the Black Business Hub, Centro Hispano, and the up-and-coming Center for Black Excellence are all housed on Madison's South Side.
These people, what they've done is put a stake in South Madison that has said, we are here to stay. Now, there will be some situations where people will try things, but they won't be able to do what they did to the Black and Italian and Jewish families in the Triangle.
Today, students at East, West, La Follette, and Memorial High School get to enjoy the diversity of the South Side. They'll also learn about what it took for the neighborhood to get there.
When I was running around out there in Franklin in the 3rd or 4th grade, who would have thought that at my age I would write a book about the very same school that I attended?
Reporting in Madison, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanasia, thank you. The book is available online and in Madison bookstores. Everyone here at News 3 Now wants to thank all of you for helping us with our Day of Warmth telethon yesterday. We were able to raise over $43,000, which is nearly $20,000 more than last year. If you missed the fundraiser yesterday, there are still opportunities to get involved and donate. The first is to go to kwwf.org, and you can donate year-round. You can also help out by ordering from Culver's at select locations. They're giving 10% of their profits to the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund.
Culver's decision to provide, again, a lifeline during these bitter cold periods as beyond critical in terms of the long-term self-sufficiency and safety of people who have, again, no place else to turn.
Several locations throughout Madison and across the state are participating. For a full list, visit channel3000.com. Donations will help keep the heat and power on for those most in need in every Wisconsin community. Way to go, Culver's. As we shake off the ice from last night and this morning, it's going to get colder and some snow is on the way this weekend. Alex has the first warn forecast after this. But before that, flu cases are on the rise once again across the country. Why doctors say we're seeing this spike in cases. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5, moving forward.
Welcome back. Flu cases are peaking for the second time this season. At least 41 states are reporting very high or high levels of flu, and ER visits for the virus have increased nearly 30% compared to the week before. 250,000 hospitalizations are reported to date and more than 11,000 deaths.
These cases are staggering, but they're not unlike numbers we saw pre-pandemic. We got a little bit spoiled after the pandemic because of precautions that people were taking, and what that resulted in is a little bit of an immunity gap, where society as a whole is less immune. We have slightly lower vaccination rates, and so our defenses are slightly down.
Even this month, doctors say as long as flu virus is circulating, anyone who is eligible should get vaccinated if they haven't yet. Wisconsin license plates will be getting a new look, or at least a new letter. After 8 years and nearly 5 million plates, the standard issue plates have run out of A plates and are now moving on to the B plates. The switch to 7-character plates started in 2017 and gave the state 100 million possible combinations. Starting this month, new plates will start with BAA and cycle through millions of combinations. The DMV expects these plates to last another 7 years. Well, we're already looking toward the weekend, but first, there is not enough hairspray in the world, Alex, to deal with that wind out there tonight.
It did all right. I think
it's ferocious.
Oh my goodness, yes. Out there in the patio, I have not experienced that level of wind at all. It was really roaring out there. And then we'll talk about those winds subsiding as part of this weathercast here. But I don't want to dismiss here. First heads up towards central Wisconsin, Juneau, Adams County, winter storm watch for later Friday night going on into Saturday. That's where the focus of our accumulating snow is really going to target. Although all of Wisconsin will see this accumulating snow. This is Friday night through Saturday, a period of alert day conditions likely unfolding across southern Wisconsin. Here's how it looks. Future track. Saturday, very early morning, midnight. Little snow to the north and west, already affecting portions of Juneau, Adams, over towards Marquette and Green Lake counties, but then becoming widespread as we move through the day on Saturday. Watch by noon. That's when the conditions will be the most widespread for snow from south to north and north to south across southern Wisconsin. But the more persistent snow is going to be across portions of the northern part of the Channel 3 viewing area, and everything should end as we go into the early part of Sunday. Thinking 3 to 6 inches up towards Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake counties. That aligns with the winter storm watch. Madison, 1, 2, maybe 3 inches. However, a lot of our weather models we're looking at today are showing a little less moisture to ring out, and that could bring these totals down. So you'll definitely want to continue to tune in to our newscast tonight, and Savannah and Blaze tomorrow, and I'll be here tomorrow night with the latest. Speaking of dropping, temperatures dropping into the single digits and then the lower teens across all of southern Wisconsin with that roaring wind. Wind chills as cold as -5 outside tonight. And here's the winds as we get into the early morning hours of Friday. Wind gusts going down, not the 51-mile-per-hour wind gust that was just reported in Lone Rock, believe it or not, but in the teens to 20s. And then as we get into Friday, you don't see the colors there. That means the winds are easing up on Friday. So Susan, hairspray, we won't have to have as much tomorrow. That wind advisory till 9 o'clock tonight for areas north of Madison, but conditions in Madison, it's very windy out there. So if you're a high-profile vehicle and you're driving tonight, you want to take it easy. Any loose objects, you might want to pull those into the house for the evening yet. Nice day tomorrow in the upper 20s with clouds building in out ahead of that weather system. Rest of tonight to plan here. What you don't see here is windy. Windy, 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 and temperatures going down into the 20s, and we will have clearing skies across southern Wisconsin to plan the rest of your Thursday evening. After accumulating snow on Saturday, just small snow chances, but cold is going to be the mode as we carry forth out to the rest of the 10-day period. And hey, I got a chance to go out to Northside Elementary in Middleton, where I got to talk about weather, and they just wanted to quick say something here during our 5 o'clock newscast. See you on TV! Thanks again for having me out. The full visit at 6 and 10 o'clock tonight. Susan?
All right, you're hired, kids. Well done. Thank you, Alex. When we come back, we'll hear a tale of two sisters who overcame the odds and saved each other.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A Wisconsin family is coming together in the face of a health challenge. Yesterday, two sisters underwent a liver transplant surgery in an effort to save one living with a rare condition. Kaylee Starrell spoke with the family ahead of the procedure.
You gotta be kidding me, Abby.
Playing cards is a normal night for the Smith family.
So you have to play that too?
Something that will now be on pause because Abby is getting a liver transplant.
I have biliary atresia, and it is a blockage in the liver.
Since she was a baby, Abby has been in and out of the hospital.
I had surgeries every 3 to 6 months. Like I start getting swelling in my legs, I start having GI issues. I'm very jaundiced all the time.
25 years later, things took a turn.
My liver wasn't bouncing back like it normally does, and it was time to get a transplant.
They spent over a year on the list, waiting for a call that never came.
Just a lot of in the dark waiting.
Little did she know, a match was sitting right next to her.
I called my doctor and I scheduled an appointment to come in and get my blood work done to see if I was a match for her.
Her sister, Sarah, secretly spent months undergoing tests before they gave her the go-ahead in November.
I just bawled my eyes out, just so happy, that maybe this could work.
A miracle, but in a way, a nightmare too.
I'm a mess. We're all a mess. Yeah, it's emotional.
This year, they're reminded that while you can't always choose the hand you're dealt,
I told you I usually win.
You can choose who is on your team.
Because she's my sister. I would do it for any of my sisters.
A bond that goes beyond cards and beneath the skin.
The girls got their sister tattoos. They each got a queen. Queen of diamonds, queen of hearts, queen of spades, queen of clubs, just to mark their sisterhood.
As Abby and Sarah go into surgery, they hope to raise awareness for other families going through the same.
The more awareness that we can bring to, live donation, you know, I think if more people kind of knew about it and knew about the different programs and stuff that are out there, you know, families and people would be in different situations right now.
Good luck, Abby and Sarah. Both sisters and their parents will be off work for months as they recover. A GoFundMe has been created to help the family with medical costs. We'll get a final check of the weather when we come back.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, the toxic waste left behind by the Los Angeles wildfires. We were surprised by where it's going.
And what would you rather have, a raise or an extra day off? In our Eye on America, we look for an answer in a place where a 4-day work week is changing lives. Please join us.
Finally at 5, in Milwaukee, creativity is stacking up for a very good cause. The Milwaukee Public Museum is hosting a Canstruction. It's a unique exhibit featuring massive sculptures that are made entirely out of canned goods. It's part of a competition, but the real winner is the community because every can used in this display will be donated to the Jewish Community Center's food pantry. The judging took place Thursday, and you can check out the exhibit until February 17th. Way to do something good.
That's right.
We've got a lot of weather to talk about.
Yeah, the red behind us, alert day conditions for Saturday, and this is really actually starting Friday night. Accumulating snow across all of southern Wisconsin. We have winter storm watches already issued in effect for areas up towards Juneau and Adams counties. That's where the heaviest snow is likely going to line up. Join us tonight again at 6. We'll be using Future Track to show where that accumulating snow starts and when it ends.
All right, Alex, thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody. The CBS Evening News is coming up next. Hope to see you back here at 6.